Welcome to the Mike Miller Show.
Happy Wednesday, America. This is the Mike Miller Show, and I am Mike Miller, along with my producer extraordinaire, Jessica Jane. Jessica, I always start the shows with happy whatever the day is. Mm-hmm. As we did on Monday, it was not necessarily a happy day. We pretty much exclusively devoted the show to what happened in Orlando. And we may talk, we're going to talk about that a bit today, but it's going to be in reference to some lunatics who have said predictable things. But I thought just to maybe, start on a not so somber note, I would do a Florida guy story.
Okay. Okay.
Because you love Florida guy, right?
Other than the fact that I'm like, oh, why are you a Floridian?
Explain to people who do not know who Florida guy is. Tell them.
It's always the weirdest, most asinine story that you don't understand why or how someone could have these thoughts in their minds.
And they do stupid shit, right? And they don't normally, I swore. I don't normally do that. But they do stupid stuff, and they don't normally live necessarily like in high-rise condos on the beach.
There's usually a trailer park or two involved.
Yeah, these are like Central Florida people typically.
Not Central Florida alone.
Well, I mean, like central in terms of central away from the Atlantic or the Gulf. These are not beach people generally.
No, they're not beach people, but beach people sometimes are special too.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
There's some special beach.
Clue me in.
Well, I mean, like, there's the whole, like, Jimmy Buffett guy.
I love Jimmy
all the
Buffett
time.
guy.
Yeah, but...
Do you know Cheeseburger in Paradise?
Yeah.
You know the song?
Yes, I know a lot about Jimmy Buffett.
Me too. I've been to, like, 4 of his concerts. Do you, so you know Sanibel Island in Captiva?
Yes, I mean, that's beautiful over there.
I've been there on both of those islands, 4 times or whatever. Apparently, Cheeseburger in Paradise was written about a little dive, which Jimmy Buffett loves, that is off of actually Captiva. Because those of you who know, Sanibel is off Fort Myers Beach, and then Captiva is across a little, what do you want to call it, waterway from Sanibel, although I've read that it used to be actually part of Sanibel, but a hurricane a long time ago ended that. But this island is only available or only accessible by boat from not just from Captiva, but from wherever. And that's this little restaurant that had this cheeseburger that he wrote the song about. Did you know that?
I did not know that, honestly.
See, I'm bigger.
I would say that Sanibel and Captiva are very close to Paradise.
Oh, absolutely, and I think even Captiva more, because
other than it's just like you have to. You can only get in or out of there through a toll road. I mean, that's the only part.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, there's a toll road. I think that's the only way you can get in and out.
From where?
From you go Fort Myers into Sanibel, then Captiva. You have to cross a bridge, and it's a toll right there.
When's the last time you were there?
2012.
Well, maybe they've added a toll. Maybe Barack Obama did that. But anyway, see, this is why you guys like to listen to us, because we do get off on tangents. But so we have a Florida guy story, and this actually is not. I'm going to take back a tad what I just said. This did not happen in Central Florida, right, in the Everglades or whatever. This happens in Key West. Let me read you the headline, and then I will explain the story. You ready?
Yep.
Key West gas leak triggers tavern brawl.
What?
You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. A brawl in a popular Key West bar was touched off, quote, due to someone farting, according to a police report.
Oh my God. Continue,
Yeah, so
please.
that's the gas leak.
It's just amazing to me.
As detailed by an unnamed patrolman, two groups of patrons at Sloppy Joe's. I've not been to Key West. That you know what? That is actually the one place in Florida that I want to go that I have not been. Have you ever been there?
Key West, yeah, I've been to several of the keys.
But Key West, you've been all the way there and like
Oh yeah, I
Hemingway's
went to
house and
the
the whole
south.
bit.
Oh, I didn't go to Hemingway's house, but because most of the time when I went to the Keys was like to do family stuff. So we
Yeah.
go and everybody went to the beach, or we'd go, or with my friends to the bar. So I mean, we went to the southernmost point and stuff like that. I never actually went to Hemingway's house though.
I want to hit Key West before I die, which, as you know, I mean that could be at any minute based on my ripe old age. But anyway, as detailed by an unnamed patrolman, two groups of patrons at Sloppy Joe's, apparently a famous bar there, um, there was a dispute over someone passing gas. One of the combatants, I love that, Sandra Lee was a woman, so she was thrown down too. Sandra Lee Stoner, I love the last name, told police the argument was over a fart. She was drinking with her boyfriend Richard, and friends, when quote an argument occurred with another couple, and she was struck in the eye, and then no man, and then the whole thing, kind of, uh, yeah, went downhill from there.
Wow. Yeah, see, I told you some beach people they're pretty
Well,
special.
see, and I stand corrected.
It's mostly infused with copious amounts of alcohol, but it does happen.
There's a picture of the dude, her boyfriend, Stoner's boyfriend, mugshot, as it were. He's facing, or, well, he was arrested on a misdemeanor battery charge. But anyway, he supposedly tackled the unidentified assailant. I don't know if the assailant is the one who hit him first or who, shall we say, farted. But so yeah, there you have that. So yeah, I thought we might start off with the Florida guy story just to kind of
That's
switch.
crazy. Actually, I thought at first you might. But the thing is, that one isn't humorous. The little kid that got grabbed by
Oh
a
my
gator.
gosh. No, man. Yeah, that is not humorous. But when I saw that, I was thinking like, God, I don't like it. I want to be anywhere on the planet
But Orlando right now?
recently except Orlando.
Yeah, I thought when I heard the story. Well, first when I heard the story, I was like, "What is wrong with these people letting
Ugh.
a little kid like wade in a lake? Like, don't they know that's a possibility?" But then they
Okay,
said the
but then I'm
people were
thinking
from
like
Oklahoma,
you're
so
at Disney World and you would think that somehow
they're at the
they would.
Grand Floridian, which is a
Yeah,
huge,
been there.
yeah, it's a huge, and it's actually one of the more expensive resorts that they have.
So for the folks who have not, since you brought it up, for the folks who were unaware, explain what happened.
Well, there was a family, I guess, staying at the Grand Floridian, and what ended up happening was, even though there was a sign posted "No swimming in the lake," they thought, just dipping their feet in would be okay. Um, well, the kid was it's 2-year-old little boy. It's just
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
yeah, it's heartbreaking.
It was around 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, and the parents were there. They were watching him and doing all that, um, and but he was, he had his feet in the water. He was wading around, and a gator came, snapped him, and took him and dragged him into the lake.
And they
Uh,
still haven't found him.
no, they haven't found him, but that is the weird part of the story, is that it wasn't until a few hours ago they actually had hopes of finding him alive. I was
Well,
like,
what I think that they say that stuff. Don't you think that, they always talk about like a search and rescue mission, whether it's plane crashes or stuff like this, before they obviously should be forced to say a recovery mission. I mean, I think that's just always part of the deal, in my humble opinion.
Maybe, but I feel like they dragged it on even longer than I thought that they would
Of
because
course, because like,
within
how
an
could he be
hour,
alive, right?
yeah, I mean,
And how big is this lake? I mean, this cannot be. This is not like Lake Michigan. I mean,
no, it's a man-made lake.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a man-made lake. It's the Seven Seas Lagoon. It is pretty large because it does go around the Magic Kingdom, like,
yeah. I know.
and the Jungle Cruise ride is, well, it's kind of they're sectioned off, but they're all kind of connected a little bit. And they are always, Fish and Wildlife are always coming and getting gators out of there and taking them to natural um, water bodies of water. But I mean, you really can't catch them all. And yeah, this poor little kid, like within minutes, I'm pretty sure within minutes he was gone because
Oh,
the first
absolutely.
thing. The first thing that a gator does, especially, which is extremely, I'm actually quite amazed that they even attacked the little kid. But the first thing that when they catch prey, they grab whatever it is that they grab and they do a barrel roll to drown it and then they eat it whole. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what they
Oh,
do.
yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like within half an hour that kid there's
At,
no
at,
hope.
at the most, he was
Yeah.
toast. He was toast, right?
And it's unfortunate, but I mean, and it's sad, and really, I mean, they got a bunch of, they found four other gators, and they cut them open, trying to at least find remains for the family,
Oh,
which
see,
is
I didn't
sad.
see that part, man.
Yeah,
And then there were. Yeah, I saw also that like when it happened, the dad jumped into the water, tried to grab him, but that didn't happen. The gator was estimated at between 4 and 6 feet long, right?
yeah, which is a normal. It's a small normal size.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's very unfortunate. But that was my immediate thought when I saw that this morning. I was like, I cannot go to sleep anymore. Every time I go to sleep,
I know. God, every time in Orlando,
some
something bad is going to.
something crazy. Yeah,
Uh,
and
I guess you know what, and again, I've been down there. It's been a long time. But is there not a perimeter around the whole thing where they could keep gators out? I guess not.
there's not because it's made to be more natural, and it's
Natural, yeah.
in it's kind of like because it's such a big man-made body of water.
Right.
There's they put it doesn't look man-made when you look at it now. I mean when it initially was built back in the 70s,
Yeah.
you could tell, but it has overgrown. It does look like Florida, wetland.
Yeah. No, I
And
know.
they
Yeah.
and they posted a sign. I mean, it does have a posted sign saying no swimming.
Well, yeah, but
But I
still,
guess it
like,
should have said, "Hey, maybe
beware
gators." Yeah,
gators. Yeah.
yeah, it should have said something like that. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, growing up in Florida, I'm like, yeah, you don't. I mean, even if it wasn't a gator, a water moccasin could be in there, which is more
Yeah.
South Florida. But they're, I mean, they can be anywhere here. Like this, we have all of that. It's very dangerous.
Yeah. You know what? And again, Orlando. God darn it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, and again, that's a terrible deal. But a couple of morons, and moron can loosely be translated into liberal loons on the show. Couple of guys shooting their mouths off about the attack on the Pulse, right? Pulse
Mhm.
nightclub, I guess it's officially known
Yeah.
as, or the name. One of them being Seth MacFarlane, Family Guy dude,
Oh
right?
gosh, what do you say?
He what did I put this up yesterday? I guess. Let me just read. Let me just read his tweet, and anyone who knows a modicum about weapons will see where I'm heading with this. He says, quote, these shootings are a regular occurrence. You don't get to be shocked, he put that in quotes, anymore unless you take action to stop them. And here's the money shot: ban automatic weapons.
Oh, we did discuss this a little bit on Monday.
Did,
Yeah, the automatic weapons that you
They've
can't
been
get.
banned. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
he's just
there
been
are
hammered.
people. Well, yeah, because it's ridiculous. There are people that can get automatic weapons, but you have to be like a licensed gun dealer or have I forgot
Completely
a different certification
way
altogether.
regulated by the
Very
government.
expensive. Yes, very expensive. Very time consuming. Very like I mean that one it's a lot to get an automatic weapon, and most of the time you spend all that and they still won't give it to you.
Well, and then the other, my other favorite guy is Michael Moore. He came out. I put this up today. He has an idea about what happened and why. You want to hear this one?
Probably not, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
probably not. But by the way, Michael Moore, for those of you who give a damn, is his Twitter handle is at Flint. He's from Flint, Michigan. Although you know what he supports, Michael Moore seems to me like if he wasn't political, he would probably be a fun guy to drink beer with.
I don't know. He always seemed to me like the crazy person that gets irritated
Yeah,
about
because you read what his
everything.
wife said in the divorce thing and everything.
I did not read that,
Well,
but
but I'm just saying, yeah,
yeah.
he might have a public persona that's a bit different than he is in private, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
But anyway, so he tweets yesterday. This is even better than McFarland. Quote, ammo used in AR-15/M16 is banned by Geneva Convention. It enters the body, spins, and explodes. Show the crime scene photos, and the NRA is over. So he tweets that yesterday. Okay, first of all, he every time, maybe just go back to Sandy Hook. I did a link to the Sandy Hook, his comments, and talk about him in a second at the end of this article I wrote on Independent Journal Review. But it is complete, everything he just said there, well, except the crime scene thing, which is his opinion, it's complete bullcrap. So let's back up the bus a second. Ammo used in AR-15, banned by Geneva Convention. It enters a body, spins, and explodes. Okay, so I love when liberals get on Twitter and say stupid crap, right?
Yeah.
We've talked before, like when shared drunk tweets.
Cher and Bette Midler.
Bette Midler, yeah, I mean, it's gold. It's gold every time. So Twitter users apparently the majority of them know just a tad more about firearms and ammunition than does Michael Moore. Here are a couple responses to him. I love Twitter. So Colorado Grandma, she says, "Oh my Lord, you are one dumb MF. If that was the case, moron, the military could not use the M16. Where do you get these delusions?" Another one, mycotechnologist, don't get that. Goes into the rounds used in M16s are specifically used by NATO countries. What are you talking about? Another guy, there's no such ammo by standard load. Again, the 5.56 millimeter NATO round, still devastating, but Geneva compliant, misinformation not helpful. And it goes on and on and on. I just love it when these people say stupid crap. Some of them got into a bit of shall I say, snark. And like I'm not snarky, so this does not appeal to me. But Panama Orange said the most popular round in NATO is banned by the Geneva Convention. Well, holy crap. We better outfit The Hague with stadium seating. Another one, I know that you're very arrogant and imagine that you're just a larger Katie Couric, but not even you can make this lie. And it just goes on and on and on. It just the left never, including Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders and on down the line, never resist the opportunity to immediately go after guns when stuff like this happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, having said that, I want to ask you a question. Because I read a post you put up earlier
Yes.
on Facebook, and I told you I was going to ask you about this. Uh, you know
Do you
what?
want me
I
to read
don't.
my post?
Huh?
Do you want me to read my post?
Yes.
Okay, this is what I said this morning after seeing many, many, many comments from my friends telling me to not telling me, telling the world to ban AR-15s. So it starts. I implore my friends not to lose sight at what really is to blame about what transpired on Sunday: hatred, homophobia, and extremism. My friend Edward and 101 other innocent people have been murdered or seriously injured because of one monstrous evil person with terrible, dangerous, and depraved beliefs. The rifle was merely the tool, of which he had many, including handguns and possibly explosives, to his end. Please do not misunderstand me, as I agree that there needs to be reform. The FBI and the background checks failed us miserably. But blaming the weapon is the same as when people and lawmakers blamed alcohol for violence. We saw how that turned out. A car can be a weapon in the wrong hands. Fertilizer can be a weapon in the wrong hands. I'm depressed, angry, bewildered, and deeply hurt by this tragedy. And love, knowledge, unity, and action are the only ways we can combat this intangible enemy and honor our precious loved ones.
Now, and I told you on Monday, you know, that as much as the compassion I have for everyone that was killed, and personally for you, because I love you, man. I mean, you lost a friend there. Um, I, geez, man, yes, I think the FBI screwed up. That's part of the 80% that I agree with. And we see this all the time. Right? These people run a watch list or what have you, just like the Tsarnaevs, and then they're not anymore. And then they do crap, and then then we suffer the consequences. Um, I don't know about further regulations, whatever they may be. And I guess I took issue with you, and I guess I'm kind of getting off the gun track here with the whole question of quote homophobia. I don't think that homophobia, and you can convince me otherwise, that had anything to do with it. This guy may have been, we see it and continue to read various reports that he may have been gay and hated himself for that. And again,
But a lot
not,
of
huh?
but a lot of homophobia stems from that. I mean,
Well, what I'm saying is non-substantiated reports that he was gay and was self-loathing, I would call it, right? But does self-loathing for being gay, if that occurs, and I told you the other day, I two friends in the music business that actually killed themselves that were gay, but does the whole question of, my God, what's wrong with me, and self-loathing or whatever you want to call it, does that necessarily conflate with homophobia?
that doesn't, not in all cases, but it can
No,
definitely be if it's something, especially if you're in heavy denial about this
right.
situation, you're going to be like, no, I hate you for, yes, it can totally turn into, I hate anything that has to do with anything
But is that
of that
homophobia,
thing.
or is it, well, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm splitting hairs here.
I
Okay.
think you are splitting hair, and the thing is that even I mean that's what the ex-wife said, you know.
Yeah,
And the thing is, he had another wife right now. I
right.
mean, and the thing is, that's what I'm saying. It's like we don't know. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. Um, but he very specifically targeted a gay bar. I mean, I feel like right
Well,
then
I agree with you. I agree with you.
there
And
there's
as
definitely
would
homophobia.
most militant Muslims, right?
I mean, but there's militant Muslims that have attacked Paris, not necessarily a gay bar, have attacked.
I understand.
You know, there's definitely an element of homophobia in it. The thing that I have a problem with, which is a lot of my other friends are like, this wasn't a terrorist attack, this is only homophobia. And I'm
See,
like,
that's bullcrap.
and that is bullcrap. And I have a bunch of friends on the other side where this is just a terrorist act. And I'm like, no, this is both. This is very much both.
Do
And
you let
one
me ask
does
you this,
not
and
have to.
I asked you this on Monday. Now maybe I'm agreeing with you 85%.
Okay.
Okay, but I asked you this on Monday. If this guy had not been aware of a vulnerable, excuse me, gay bar to attack, would he have attacked a non-gay bar? And I would suggest that he would have.
Well, I mean, I mean, the ex-wife said that he cased Disney World.
I understand that. Yeah,
So
exactly.
he was definitely looking for a place where he can get a lot of people, but he was also targeting Disney World around the time of gay days. He was definitely looking.
Right.
His main target was definitely going to be gay people, but I think yes, if he hadn't found anywhere, which I don't see how he couldn't find one place, you know, like it. But yes, maybe he would have attacked something else. But that's why I said it is both. He specifically targeted gays.
Because when you read more and more reports from people who knew this guy, who were familiar with him, that he was like a bigot, like A to Z, right? Whether based on race, based on gays, based on whatever have you.
Anybody
And
that wasn't Muslim, he was.
anybody that wasn't Muslim. So yeah, I mean, probably, and I would agree with you. At
And
the
even
top of
then,
his
women.
list were gays. Yes, because that was his perfect home run, right?
Yes, that's why I said it's not. These are not mutually exclusive. This was both.
Yeah, I guess maybe I took issue with what my definition as a guy, um, excuse me, of quote homophobia is with a hatred for gays. So I took issue. I looked at those as not necessarily inclusive.
Yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of people see it that way, but I don't. I think it's definitely I definitely think there's an element of that, and there was definitely an element of this person wanting to be an extremist terrorist person.
Speaking of his wives, the one to whom he was married, her last name is Salman. I do not have that. I put that article up earlier today. Her parents were, shall we say, visited yesterday by the FBI. And there is some, particularly as it relates to her, that she had foreknowledge that he was going to do this. And that she supposedly, quote, tried to talk him out of it. And actually, I've seen two different reports about this, was either present with him when he bought at least the semi-automatic pistol, or actually bought it for him. I don't know which one of those, if either
The
are true.
stories that I heard that is that she fully admitted going with him to
To
one.
case the joint.
She went with him to the place. She also was with him when he bought the guns.
Right.
I didn't hear the part about her being the one to purchase them. I don't think that happened.
I don't
Based on
necessarily either, but there's so
based
much
on his
stuff. There's so
license.
much stuff flying around. Yeah, and there was even a report, and I don't think this is true, that she drove him there. I don't think that's true. It was 2 hours from their condominium, but she knew that and substantiated, or shall I say, sourced stuff that I put up today. That he told her he was going there to quote see his friends, but that she suspected that he was going to do what he's going to do. So there is still
Yeah,
probably a great chance that she may be
indicted.
arrested and charged as well.
I think that she might be, and if she wasn't, it's kind of. I feel like the way that people with his mindset treat women. I don't know if maybe she had battered women syndrome and didn't and was scared. But I'm not gonna make excuses for her. If she knew
No, but
and
to
she
your
could have
point,
done something, if she knew and she could have done something, and she just was like, "I'm gonna stay out of it," then she just definitely deserves to be prosecuted.
to your point, and I know we're under a minute, but her first marriage was an arranged marriage by her parents, and then she marries this guy. They met online, and her parents had prohibited her from driving. They were from Afghanistan. Same thing happens in Saudi Arabia, but he did as well. So she definitely comes across as a scared, controlled woman.
Yeah, and that was one of the things. It's also an element that needs to be seen. We don't know anything. We really don't know anything.
We
at this
don't,
point.
man. Stories are flying around.
Yeah.
Speaking of flying, this first half hour, as is normally the case, has flown by. We're going to take a break, and we're going to see if we can. We're going to hook up with my good pal Dan Joseph from MRC TV. This is a Mike Miller Show with Jessica Jane. We'll be right back.
Doug, I never thought I could go back to school, but when it's this easy, it fits.
I'm right there with you, Jackie, taking classes, watching lectures in the living room on the iPad. It's not hard.
I can be a mom, make dinner, get my classwork done, and not miss a moment with my family. It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Hey, it's Jackie Velasquez, and if Doug and I can do this, you can do this too. Higher education with Liberty University Online.
Find out more about completing your college degree at the world's largest Christian university, Liberty University. Get all the details right now. Grab your cell and dial pound 250. When prompted, say the keyword Liberty University.
Training champions for Christ since 1971, Liberty University Online. Find out more about learning online. Dial pound 250, then say the keyword Liberty University.
Liberty University Online with hundreds of degree programs to choose from. Call now, pound 250. Say the keyword Liberty University.
That's pound 250, say keyword Liberty University.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com. Hello, I'm Matt.
Doug, I never thought I could go back to school, but when it's this easy, it fits.
I'm right there with you, Jackie, taking classes, watching lectures in the living room on the iPad. It's not hard.
I can be a mom, make dinner, get my classwork done, and not miss a moment with my family. It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Hey, it's Jackie Velasquez, and if Doug and I can do this, you can do this too. Higher education with Liberty University Online.
Find out more about completing your college degree at the world's largest Christian university, Liberty University. Get all the details right now. Grab your cell and dial pound 250. When prompted, say the keyword Liberty University.
Training champions for Christ since 1971, Liberty University Online. Find out more about learning online. Dial pound 250, then say the keyword Liberty University.
Liberty University Online with hundreds of degree programs to choose from. Call now, pound 250. Say the keyword Liberty University.
That's pound 250, say keyword Liberty University.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others.
Doug, I never thought I could go back to school, but when it's this easy, it fits.
I'm right there with you, Jackie, taking classes, watching lectures in the living room on the iPad. It's not hard.
I can be a mom, make dinner, get my classwork done, and not miss a moment with my family. It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Hey, it's Jackie Velasquez, and if Doug and I can do this, you can do this too. Higher education education with Liberty University Online.
Find out more about completing your college degree at the world's largest Christian university, Liberty University. Get all the details right now. Grab your cell and dial pound 250. When prompted, say the keyword Liberty University.
Training champions for Christ since 1971, Liberty University Online. Find out more about learning online. Dial pound 250, then say the keyword Liberty University.
Liberty University Online with hundreds of degree programs to choose from. Call now, pound 250. Say the keyword Liberty University.
That's pound 250, say keyword Liberty University.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
As promised, we are joined by a guy I consider to be a good pal, MRC TV's Dan Joseph. Dan, welcome back to the show, and it's been a while since we've talked. Lots of stuff has happened, hasn't it?
Yeah, no kidding. I think that's a bit of an understatement. There's been quite a bit, and I think quite a bit is about to happen in the near future. So it's gonna be a crazy summer.
Yeah, so like I don't know where to start. I mean, obviously, you and I, because we follow each other on Facebook, we are among at least our common friends. We are, and I say friends in air quotes. We are probably among those who are most beat up by our Trump fan friends, if you will. You and I have been fairly outspoken and continue to be so about the Donald, and we'll get there maybe second. But Jessica lives in Orlando, and we devoted Monday's show, as did a lot of people, to the horrific events. I mean, Christina Griffey, and then the terrorist attack in Orlando. We devoted a lot of I think the whole show on Monday to that. But what do you think, man? I mean, you have on one hand, you have Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, rushing to talk about gun control, which they always do. And then you have Donald Trump on the other side saying what he said. Where do you come down on this whole thing? I mean, just like, what are your thoughts, brother?
Well, it's a sad enough event on its own, and the fact that it happened when it happened at a time where it's such a volatile atmosphere in American politics just makes it all the worse. And I've sort of been disappointed on how everybody has treated this tragedy. I mean, of course, Donald Trump managed to, make it. I think Trump's behavior was worse than the blaming it on guns. We all expected that. What we didn't expect was for Donald Trump to come out and congratulate himself on Twitter, saying, thanks for the congrats. I called it. Like, first of all, we all knew Islamic terror was a horrible, dangerous thing, and you didn't call it first. Second of all, what kind of sick person is congratulating you on, warning people about Islamic terror in the wake of 50 people dead? And then he did something that I think even most conservatives would say is pretty low, when he sort of tried to tie Barack Obama and another one of these weird conspiracy theories, saying, I don't know. Some people are asking questions about whether, what really his motives are and what he really wants to do because he's not saying radical Islam. I mean, okay, I've criticized the president for not using the term radical Islam too, but to imply that he's complicit somehow in these people dying, that's just not only is it unpresidential, it's sort of appealing to the mentally ill part of the electorate. And I think a lot of them support Trump anyway right now. So I don't know if that's really building on his base. But it's not a laughing matter in a lot of ways. But it's impossible not to politicize because of where we are right now, and the horrible state of affairs that we're sitting in this election at this point.
I mean, I actually, well, not actually, because generally I do, but I completely agree with you. We expect from the left, every time there's a Sandy Hook, there's a San Bernardino, there's an Orlando, we expect what they're going to say and do, right? We expect that, as Rahm Emanuel infamously said, never let, I'm not paraphrasing him, but never let a crisis or tragedy go to waste. But Donald Trump congratulating himself. And I actually wrote an article on Independent Journal Review and his tweets, and it was about his tweets, congratulating himself on I was right, and and the whole bit is, in my mind, it's absolutely disgusting. And then to come out with this conspiracy crap that he comes out with. But again, to your point, the Trump fan doesn't care. Hashtag Trump fan doesn't care, right? Because whatever he says, it's fine. And he just preaches to his choir. And I think he has no clue that whatever slim chance he may have to win in November, that he has to expand his base. He just doesn't get it, man.
And there are two things here. First of all, when liberals talk about gun control, now, and I knew this was going to happen from the very beginning, not to pat myself on the back, but every time Donald Trump talks or says something crazy, by default, he makes the liberals sound more reasonable. So on an issue like gun control, it's something where he is giving them a structural advantage, and he's making them seem like, hey, maybe these gun control ideas are okay if Donald Trump thinks they're a bad idea. So by default, you have that. Secondly, I mean, the damage that came from even before this, from the Judge Curiel disaster that he had.
Exactly.
So if you look at the Real Clear Politics average of polls right now, and I know let's talk about polls when I'm on your show, and you look at the little graph over the last week, that red line that represents Trump, it looks like a commercial for erectile dysfunction. I mean, it just shot straight down to the ground. And Hillary Clinton's not gaining, at least not yet. I think she probably will in the next couple of weeks because the Sanders people will go to her. But Trump is taking a nosedive, unlike anything I've ever seen, at this point in the election. I mean, now the new poll shows him down by 29 points. But exactly like I said, Hillary's favorability now in the Washington Post ABC poll that just came out today is going higher now.
Yeah.
Trump is at 70%, and she's like, he's once again making her look good, and she's busy using his own words to make him look even worse. There's, once again, Trump is doing everything wrong, and there's no way you can convince his supporters otherwise. So, you just got to sit back and kind of watch the whole thing fall to pieces and at least take some entertainment value out of it, because if you don't, you just pull your hair out, it'll drive you crazy, as I'm sure you know, because you battle Trump supporters like I do every day online, and it's like talking in circles. I'm talking to this one guy on Twitter who's like, oh, he wasn't really making fun of a disabled person, he was just criticizing him. I'm like, no, that's not what he was doing at all. He was making fun of a disabled person. He was mocking them physically and verbally, and they won't believe it. They won't believe it. He was absolutely right when he said he could go shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and his supporters wouldn't care. And that's maybe the most dangerous thing you can possibly have in a president. Supporters that are blind to what he does and will support him no matter what.
The Curiel thing was insane because, I mean, even if he doesn't, like, I still contend, I don't care how many $1 billion or less than he says he's worth, I do not consider Donald Trump to be the sharpest crayon in the box, okay? I have not for a long time. I mean, dude, like this morning, I was listening and, was on in the other room while I was riding. He said, Belgium is a beautiful city.
I didn't hear that. I wish I.
Yeah, and I put it on Facebook. I said, Memo, Belgium is a country, dumbass. Right. Belgium is a beautiful city. But
here's the thing. I was having a conversation with my parents the other day, and my mom actually is very, very. I don't know if she's a Trump supporter, but she certainly likes Trump. She sort of shares the same fears about Islam that Trump has been trying to
Right.
move on his campaign trail. But my dad said, it's not just that Trump is a bad candidate or has crazy policies. He's an idiot. Like, he is not
an
a
idiot.
smart
He's an
person.
idiot.
And my mom says, well, he can build buildings and he made millions of money. Like, okay, you can be good
Okay.
at building buildings and you can make a lot of money doing real estate stuff. That doesn't mean you have any clue about anything else. Rain Man was really, really good at counting things and really, really good at doing math. But you wouldn't want Rain Man to be president, and that's what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with candidate Rain Man, and he's
But
going, he's like a savant. He's really, really good at one thing.
Well,
Everything
yeah,
else,
I
he's
think savants may
semi-mentally
be
ill.
gracious, but even if he has a modicum of rationale or people around him that, okay, we need to, you said stuff about the wall that pissed off some Hispanics in this country. It's probably not a good idea as we, attempt to expand the base for the general. It's probably not a good idea to go after the judge, who, again, for those of you who do not know, and I think most people do by now, is born here in Indiana, from a child of Mexican immigrants, to suggest that because he is, quote, a Mexican, we have reason to believe, and that's unquote, because that's him verbatim, that he may just be prejudiced against me in my dopey Trump University case. I mean, if he doesn't get that, why doesn't somebody around him tell him,
Well, you know what? I
dude,
think
no.
honestly, I think he does get it, and I think he's sort of disregarded the Hispanic vote entirely. I think at this point, even he is smart enough to know that he's not going to get. He's lucky if he gets 20% of the Hispanic vote.
Right.
What he's counting on is white males who, are worried that illegal immigrants are taking their jobs, or the alt-right people who were worried that too many Mexicans are changing the culture of the United States. That's what he's hoping to do. He needs to increase his vote total with white males, particularly white males without.
But if you look at the
college
polls, I mean, you look at
And the
RCP and
reality
stuff.
is-
I mean,
the reality is
he
he's
has a
losing white
majority
males now,
of
too.
white males, right?
Yeah. So he's not doing well, even with the base of people that he needs to do well with in order to have any chance of winning this election, which is why I'm saying, if you see these polls, and I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility that, the way things are going, he could be down by 20 points by the time the convention rolls
I don't think
around. He
there's
could
any
have an
question.
unfavorable rating of 80%. I don't know what you do if you're the Republican delegates at that point. I mean, you're being irresponsible by nominating the guy. He's already done enough damage. I mean, how do you go into that as a delegate to the national convention saying, well, I guess we're going to nominate this guy because we said we were a couple months ago?
We know he's going to get his ass kicked, but we're going to go ahead and nominate him anyway.
Yeah, and then let him do even more damage to the cause and just let him keep on doing it and chipping away at, any possibility the Republicans can recover within the next 4 years. But, rational thinking has not been the hallmark of this election cycle. So
No,
there's no
on
reason to
either
believe it'll
side,
stop
in
now.
my humble opinion. But I mean, when you look at, and you know this as well or better than I do, when you look at the road to 270 electoral votes, it's tough. It's progressively tougher every cycle for a Republican, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of who it was this year, it was going to be hard. And Donald, I almost threw a pejorative middle name in there, but Donald Trump getting there. I mean, setting aside just Ohio and Florida and maybe Pennsylvania, I mean, this is a rough road to hoe for Donald Trump,
Yeah,
particularly when he keeps saying idiotic crap.
You're understanding it. I mean, think about this. There were two polls that came out, I don't know, either yesterday or the day before. One of them showed that he's behind Hillary Clinton by 7 points in the state of Kansas. That's Kansas, not anything, any state that's voted liberal ever in the past 50 years. The other one, except for maybe Lyndon Johnson, the other one, he's tied with Hillary in Utah because they have, a very high Mormon population, and the Mormons are exceedingly good people, and they don't like people who are crazy and bad people like Donald Trump. So he's making states that no one would have ever thought would ever vote for a Democrat to start that start being a possibility. Georgia is now officially a swing state. Arizona is now officially a swing state. He's talking about expanding the map and winning states like California and New York. I don't know who's giving him advice. I don't know if anybody's giving him advice. I don't know if maybe the people who advise him are afraid to give him advice because he'll blow up at them. He'll call them losers, or he'll tweet something.
Well, maybe
mean
you know
about
what?
him.
Maybe he's listening to the same person he listens to when he was asked about who he listens to as it relates to foreign policy. Do you remember that? I listen to myself.
Yeah, he watches the shows, right?
Yeah, I listen to myself, and then he says, "Well, where do you get your information?" Well, from watching shows like yours. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I
just.
love Jeb Bush's comeback, though. I mean, it seems more pertinent than ever when he says, "What shows are you watching? Saturday morning cartoons."
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
kind
I
of
forgot that
candidate
part.
we have.
That was
He's
hilarious.
like this man-child.
So when he gets his ass handed to him in November, which I'm presupposing is going to happen, you know who they're, and by there I mean the Trump fans, hashtag Trump fan, you know who they're going to blame, right?
Well, yeah, I mean they'll.
They're going to be
blame
people like
all
you
the
and me.
amount
They're
for
going
him, but if
to
the
be
margin,
blame
margin
people
is
like you
it
and me.
looks like now, they're not going to be able to do that. He's going to lose by such a huge margin that he's not going to be able to blame Republicans like us. Our job is going to be we're going to have to ostracize them. We're going to have to hang little scarlet T's around the neck of everybody who supported Donald Trump in the primary, and we're going to have to ostracize them from the party, and then we're going to have to try to pick up pieces. And it's going to be a very delicate project to undertake. But I will say this. Guys like you and me are going to have credibility because we didn't support them and we refused to support them. And, when Democrats come back at us and say, you supported Donald Trump, you're how can you oppose Hillary Clinton? We didn't do it. We didn't have anything to do with this at all. We are totally on the sidelines. We tried to stop him.
But you bastards, I'm being that. But you bastards didn't vote for him because you're the, hashtag never Trump people. If it weren't for you people, then he would have been elected. That's what they're going to say.
Well, that's what they'll say. But you know what? We can say we were there at the very beginning saying he was going to lose. We were there from the very beginning saying we would not vote for him. You refused to listen to us. For some reason, you assumed that we were lying or that we would not keep our word, and we did keep our word. And you know what? You have nobody but yourself to blame for this disaster that has happened. Now go sit in the back of the car, put on your headphones, and we're going to go for 4 years, and then maybe if you're good, we'll talk after the Republican primary, which I'm not even sure I support primaries anymore. I think it would be much, much wiser for the Republicans to trash the whole system now, have a convention, let the party elders pick. I know people who are anti-establishment would absolutely hate it, but at the very least, it would give us a not crazy candidate. And again, I mean, I don't see what's preventing the people who voted for Trump from voting for somebody equally crazy, like a Sarah Palin or somebody else who's completely unelectable again, because they don't have any sense as to why they don't think they're losing. They don't think their guy is getting killed in the polls. They refuse to believe it. And I think they'll refuse to believe it even after Election Day. They'll probably say that, Ann Coulter will probably go out and say, the Mexican illegal immigrants all voted and they all stole the election from Donald Trump. Expect to hear that from some of them, regardless of how badly he loses.
Yeah, George Will said, not quite a year ago, at least 6-8 months ago, that that Trump fans have, quote, a passing interest in politics at best. And I think that's true. I mean, I often, and again, I get hammered every day on Facebook, but I call it kind of this bowling shirt mentality that these people, the majority of them have. They don't care what he says. They don't care how many times he lies or contradicts himself or whatever. That it is what it is. So I think about a couple of things. You mentioned the convention. You still read, and I'm not Bill Kristol. I mean, I'm almost tired of Bill Kristol. But can Trump be derailed at the convention? So that I'd like you to comment on that, which I think is remote. And then secondly, God, what happens in 4 years? I mean, are we screwed, or is this party so divided that it's going to take longer? I don't know.
First of all, it's highly unlikely still that Donald Trump is derailed at the convention. These delegates are very loyal to him. There would have to be, first of all, he'd have to be so far down in the polls that it would look as though there's no way that he could possibly beat Hillary Clinton. Second of all, even if he does get derailed at the convention, there's going to be so much bad blood that the smart thing to do would probably be just to put up somebody who was going to lose anyway, a sacrificial lamb that everybody could kind of get around without a problem. And
Right.
I mean, the Trump voters are gonna depart, which may be the best thing that ever happened to the Republican Party. Maybe they'll go somewhere else and form their own party and just be lunatics together. But a sacrificial lamb candidate. So even if that happens, if Trump is derailed at the convention, the appearance of chaos within the Republican Party will probably be enough in itself to guarantee a loss to Hillary Clinton. Now, I don't know. Somebody could arise. There could be a nominee that's likable who can repair the damage in enough time to allow for a competitive race. I don't think so. So anyway, you have that scenario. 4 years from now, let's say Hillary is 4 years in the White House. I think that the number one thing that they're going to use in that election, if Hillary is unpopular, they're going to go to the Trump card, and they're going to say, hey, listen, this is the party that nominated Donald Trump, and it's going to say, oh, we're not those guys anymore. We've totally changed, and for the country to believe it. I mean, if you look at Hillary right now, there's a reason that her unfavorables are going down. It's because, I don't know if you've noticed this, but in her speeches, in her interviews, she's getting much more low-key. She doesn't do that screechy voice anymore.
She actually was her comments about Orlando were to your point. I thought, wait a minute, she's not railing in that horrible voice. She's actually sounding pretty good. And I think I said something on Facebook that compare and contrast that with Donald Trump's idiocy, and she all of a sudden sounded a bit presidential, in my humble opinion.
You know what? I think once she feels that she has the Bernie Sanders supporters locked up in her camp, which I think will happen relatively soon, the smartest thing that Hillary Clinton can do is not to attack Republicans. You can attack Donald Trump, but just don't attack Republicans. Let Trump do the damage for you.
Right,
because, there's a good chance that a lot of Republicans are going to cross over. I'm not one of them. I'm not going to be voting for Hillary Clinton. But, there's a really decent chance that moderate Republicans are going to say, like, I never thought I'd do this, but, you got to stop Trump if you're in a swing state. So, I mean, if she comes across as moving to the right, that would be astonishing, first of all, and I don't think it would be, a real move to the right. I think it would be another Hillary Clinton, pandering thing. But why do you have to attack the, Republican Americans who hate Trump if you don't need to? Try to go for a Goldwater style, Reagan style landslide here.
I've talked to people and probably written about it a bit. I mean, and I think you're probably on the same page. I mean, you think about heading into 2012, right? Obama should have gotten his ass handed to him. And then in the midterms in 2014, the Democrats did get their asses handed to them. So you're thinking, okay, man, we're going to be golden in 2016, right? If we just nominate somebody that's acceptable. And then and plus, the Democrats are going to nominate Hillary Clinton. We would have laughed and said, it's a done deal. And then we do Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, I think it's also because a lot of, especially people who voted for Donald Trump in the primary, severely underestimated Hillary Clinton. And they thought she was going to be so easy to beat that even Donald Trump could beat her. I think that was some of the mindset, but whereas the other mindset, I still hear this from Trump supporters like, oh, he's going to absolutely kill her in the debate. Well, you know what? That may have played in a Republican debate where you can just make fun of your opponents, but Hillary Clinton is going to sit there and be boring as hell in the debate, and she's just going to talk policy, and she's just going to let Donald Trump say what he has to say, and she's going to go over all these crazy things Donald Trump says, just sit there and take the attacks on her husband and, on Obama and all this stuff.
Yeah.
She doesn't really have to do anything, and, Donald Trump can't debate. I don't know any serious person who said, oh, Donald Trump really did well in one of those Republican debates. No, nobody said that. It was like these fake drudge polls that they put out where Trump supporters stormed on and voted for him. But he looked terrible in every single one of those debates. The whole reason we're here at this point is because Trump said two things early on. It was the deporting all the Hispanics, and it was the Muslim ban. Those two things galvanized the nativist, nationalist portion of the Republican base, and they came out and voted for him. And first of all, the immigration issue, that's another issue we're going to have to deal with in 2020 2020 and beyond now, he's made it so much worse because he's giving them the notion that, yes, Republicans do actually support deporting 12 million illegal immigrants, which the Republicans I know do not support. The mainstream conservatives that I know understand that that's not possible and that's never going to happen. And if it did, if you tried to do it, it would cause riots in the street. So, we're taking a hit here and we're being set back. The question is, how far is the Republican Party and the conservative movement going to get set back in the whole scheme of things?
And that is yet to play out. Look, man, I was excited having you come on, but now I'm depressed. We'll,
I have a tendency to do that these days. When I talk to other Republicans, they're like, "Oh man, you're making me so sad." Well, if you're depressed, go check out my new video. It's I interviewed Katie Couric. It's not really an interview with me with Katie Couric, but you know how she deceptively edited some of her film to make it seem as though some pro-gun activists were unable to answer a question about how to prevent terrorists from getting guns. Did you hear about this one?
You know what I did, and people, we got to wrap, but people just, if you just type Dan Joseph into YouTube, there's your channel, right?
Yeah, there it is, and it's right up front and center of the video. You'll find it, or go to MRC TV and you'll see it there. It's enough to cheer you up from some of the not so fun stuff going on in the country and the Republican Party right now.
All right, my friend. Long time between talks, but let's do it again soon. All right.
All right, man. Well, thanks for having me on. I always enjoy it.
I do too. Dan Joseph, MRC TV, y'all. Thanks, Dan.
Take care.
Okay, Jessica, we got to get out of here. I'm long.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's all right. Good show, as always, I think. Anyway, you guys, thanks for listening. The Mike Miller Show with my buddy Jessica Jane. We will be back Friday. You come back too and tell your friends. Thanks.
Say goodbye to the city. I think it's time to get away.